The alien market was always loud shouting, selling, bargaining. But today, it was silent. People froze. Vendors dropped their fruits. A low, deep growl echoed through the stalls. Something huge moved in the shadows. Claws scratched against metal. Floors, heavy breaths came closer. Then red eyes appeared. Everyone ran. Stalls fell. Food spilled. A mother screamed, pulling her child behind her. Even the security bots retreated, their sirens blaring. Only one figure walked forward, a girl. Young, maybe 17 in human years, her skin was light blue, her eyes glowing gold. She wore a dark cloak and her face was calm. Behind her, the beast followed. It was taller than a tank. Black fur covered its body. Its mouth was full of sharp teeth and long fangs dripped with saliva. Red lines glowed under its skin, and metal spikes ran along its spine. It looked like a creature from nightmares. People whispered from behind walls, "It's the Death Beast. Run! It killed soldiers last month. That girl. She controls." The girl stood in the center of the square. The beast stood behind her like a guard. She looked at the people hiding. "I don't want trouble," she said in a clear voice. "Let me pass." No one answered. Suddenly, the market's security leader, an alien with 4 arms and silver armor, stepped forward. His voice shook. You and your beast are banned from here. Leave now, or face fire." The girl didn't move. "He won't attack unless I say so." The beast growled once. Everyone flinched, but from the edge of the square, someone else stepped forward. A human. Tall, dressed in dusty brown clothes, with a calm face and sharp green eyes. He looked like a traveler, or maybe an ex-soldier. He had no weapons in his hands. His name was Jack. He didn't run. He didn't hide. He walked right into the square, toward the girl and her beast. Everyone watched in silence. The security chief shouted, "Human! Get back! That thing will kill you." But Jack didn't stop. He stood just a few feet away from the beast. The creature's red eyes narrowed. It growled again, louder this time. Still, Jack didn't move. Instead, he smiled a little and said, "Cool pet. What's his name?" The whole market gasped. The girl blinked. She looked at Jack like he was insane. "No one ever asks that," she said. Jack shrugged. "Well, I'm asking." The beast sniffed the air. Slowly, it walked forward until its huge nose was inches from Jack's chest. One wrong move, and it could tear him in half. Jack stood still. His heart beat fast, but he didn't show fear. The beast sniffed again, then suddenly licked Jack's hand with its warm, rough tongue. Everyone screamed. The security leader nearly fainted. The girl's eyes widened. "He's never done that before, not with anyone but me," Jack chuckled. "Maybe he likes me." The beast let out a deep grunt, then sat beside Jack, its eyes calm. The girl stared at Jack, unsure what to say. Jack looked at her and said, "You hungry?" "I have food." She didn't answer at first. Then slowly, she nodded. He reached into his bag and pulled out dried meat and fruit slices. He threw a piece of meat toward the beast, who caught it mid-air. The creature wagged its spiked tail like a happy dog. Jack handed some fruit to the girl. She took it carefully, watching him like he might suddenly disappear. "Why aren't you afraid?" she asked softly. Jack looked up at the beast, then at her. "Because I see someone who's just trying to survive," he said. "And I've seen real monsters before. That guy," he pointed at the security leader, "he's more dangerous than your pet." The girl gave a small, surprised smile. It was the first time in years someone didn't call her a freak or a threat. "What's your name?" she asked. "Jack," he replied. "And yours?" "Zura." A loud alarm sounded in the distance. Reinforcements were coming. The security chief yelled, "You two, you're under arrest. Step away from the beast." Zura's smile faded. The beast stood up again, growling low. Jack turned to her and said, "I think we should get out of here." Zura nodded once. She gave a soft command in an alien tongue, and the beast followed her quietly. As they ran into the alleyways, Jack looked back. The crowd still stared in shock. He had no idea why he stepped forward. He only knew one thing. This girl and her terrifying pet were not what the galaxy believed. And he was going to find out the truth. Zura stared at the humans back as they walked through the twisting alleys. He didn't ask questions. He didn't show fear. He just walked beside a girl everyone called cursed and her monster. She didn't understand him. Not yet. The beast walked close to Jack's side like a loyal hound. But this pet was no normal animal. It had torn battle droids in half. Its jaws could crush stone. It was a weapon, not a pet. And yet, it licked Jack like a pup. Zura glanced at Jack again. He looked calm, hands in his pockets, chewing a fruit slice. Who was this man? Behind them, alarms still echoed. The market had gone into full lockdown. Someone would report them. Soldiers would come. Why didn't you run? Zura finally asked. Jack stopped walking. He turned to her and smiled, a tired, soft smile. I've seen death before, he said. Yours didn't scare me. Zura tilted her head. Mine? He pointed at the beast. You and him. Everyone else sees monsters. I see someone protecting her only friend. Zura looked away. His words hit deeper than she expected. They stopped at an abandoned shuttle hangar. Rusted walls, flickering lights. But it was hidden safe for now. The beast curled up in the corner, resting its massive head on its paws. It sighed like an old war veteran finally getting sleep. Jack tossed Zura a bottle of clean water. So, what do I call him? Zura sat down slowly. Her cloak slipped off her shoulder, revealing a glowing scar across her collarbone. His name is Gore, she. Syed, Gore, Jack repeated. Nice, like Gore, she nodded. He was born in a lab. Built to kill. But he chose me. Jack leaned back. And what did you do to earn that? I didn't scream when he broke out of his cage. I just held out my hand. Silence filled the air. Then Zura asked the one thing no one had ever dared to ask her. Why are you really here, Jack? Jack looked at her. His eyes darkened just a little. I'm running too, he said. But not from a beast. He opened his jacket, showing a tag. Old, burnt, the mark of a human military squad. Deserter, he whispered. I refused orders, so now I'm trash. Zura didn't speak. She just looked at him, and for the first time she didn't feel alone. They sat quietly, two broken souls with no home. Suddenly, Gore's ears twitched. The beast lifted its head and growled low. Zura stood up. They're coming. Jack peered out the cracked window. 3 black hovercrafts flew toward them, no lights, no warning. Silent hunters. Shadow force, he muttered. They don't ask questions, they just shoot. Zura looked at Gore. Ready? Gore rose, eyes glowing, fangs bared. Jack grabbed the metal rod lying nearby. It wasn't much, but it was all he had. Zura turned to him, voice steady. You can still leave. Jack smiled, almost amused. You really think I'd walk away from the only team I've had in years? A tiny breath escaped her lips. Not quite a smile, but close. The hangar doors exploded open. 3 dark armored soldiers rushed in. Zura gave one sharp word. Gore. The beast moved like lightning. Jack leaped forward too, swinging the rod into the first attacker's chest. Sparks flew. Zura ducked a laser bolt and kicked one in the knee. She moved like a dancer, fast, graceful, lethal. The battle was short. When it ended, smoke filled the air. Sparks flew from broken helmets. Gore stood in the center, roaring. Jack wiped blood from his lip. Zura looked at him, truly looking this time. You're different, human, he chuckled. So are you. She hesitated. Then softly, I think Gore likes you. Good, Jack said, because I'm not going anywhere. Outside, the sky turned red as more ships arrived. But inside, in that small broken hangar, something new was born. Not fear. Not war.trust. Asterisk, the rain was purple. It fell in slow drops over the city's edge, staining metal roofs and glowing streets. But Jack didn't notice the strange color. He only noticed the blinking red dot on the broken wall of the hangar. A tracker. They found us again, he said quietly. Zura's golden eyes narrowed. They never stop. Above them, high in the sky, giant screens flashed warnings in 6 alien languages. Wanted, the beast-bearer and the human who defied the order. Reward, dead or alive. Jack stared at it inside. That's a lot of money. Zura didn't speak. She just loaded her plasma knife and patted Gore's side. The beast growled low, sensing danger. Suddenly, something fell through the ceiling. A sphere. It hit the ground and cracked open FKK. Smoke flooded the room. Jack grabbed Zura and pulled her behind cover. Move, move! Gore roared, swinging its giant paw and smashing through crates. They're here. Through the smoke. Shadows moved silent, fast, not soldiers, hunters. Zura's voice was ice cold. 3rd time this week. Jack coughed. Popular girl, huh? No, she said, just hated. The first hunter jumped out, firing electric nets. Gore leapt in front of Zura and tore the net in half with his teeth. He threw the attacker across the hangar with a single swipe. Jack slammed a pipe into another one's leg, then yelled, "Why won't they just leave you alone?" Zura's answer came between breaths as she ducked and slashed a stun bomb in half. Because they don't want the beast. They want me. Jack's eyes narrowed. Why? But Zura didn't answer. Not yet. After minutes of chaos, all 3 hunters lay unconscious or worse. Zura's hands trembled slightly. She tried to hide it. Jack noticed. You okay? She turned away. I'm used to it. But Jack wasn't. Not to her pain. Not to how easily she accepted violence. He wanted to know why. So he asked the question again. Zura, what did you do to make the whole galaxy hunt you? She sat down, breathing hard, then finally whispered, I broke the rule. Jack raised an eyebrow. Which one? Zura looked him in the eyes. I loved something they told me to kill. Silence. Even Gore didn't move. Jack didn't know what to say. So Zura told him the truth. I was born on a war moon. My people trained with weapons before we learned to speak. One day, they brought us into a lab. They said we had to form a bond with the death beasts. She looked at Gore, who slowly lay beside her. Everyone was told to control them with pain, shocks, starvation, fear, but I couldn't do it. I refused. Jack listened without interrupting. Zura continued, her voice quiet and tired. While the others tortured theirs, I sat beside mine. I gave him water. I sang to him. He didn't attack me. He protected me. They called me a traitor, a failed warrior. They tried to take him from me, so we ran. Jack finally spoke. That's why they want you, Zura nodded. They think kindness is weakness. Jack looked at her with respect. But it's not. She smiled faintly. You're the only one who's ever said that. Suddenly, Jack's wrist screen blinked. More. Bounty signals. 10 ships. Heading their way. Time to go, he said. Zura stood. We can't keep running forever. Jack placed a hand on her shoulder. Then let's stop running and start surviving. Outside, the bounty forces surrounded the district. Searchlights swept the streets. Drones scanned every face. But inside that hangar, a girl, a beast, and a human planned something new. Not escape. A stand. Gore was bleeding. Not much, but enough for Jack to notice. They had escaped the last trap by crawling through a half-collapsed tunnel under the old station. Smoke still clung to their clothes. Zura coughed, brushing ash from her eyes. Jack dropped to one knee beside the beast. Gore's front leg had a deep gash, leaking strange, dark blue fluid. Not blood, not just blood. Something else. Jack reached into his bag and pulled out a med kit. Hold still, big guy. Gore growled low but didn't move. He trusted Jack now. Zura crouched beside them, watching. But when Jack gently cleaned the wound, he paused. Something inside the gash didn't look right. Metal? He leaned closer, wiped again. Under the flesh, there was a metal plate. Jack frowned. Zura, your beast has armor under the skin. She didn't answer. He looked at her. Did you know? Zura hesitated, then nodded slowly. Yes, Gore isn't just alive, he was built. Jack stared at her. Built? You mean like a cyborg? No, she said. Worse. She stood and walked a few steps away, her voice quiet. Long ago, a human scientist worked with my people. He called it the Living Weapon Project. He said he could mix machines and biology to create the perfect war beast. Jack's face turned cold. That sounds like something we would do. Zura continued. They grew them in tanks, fed them pain, trained them to kill. But one escaped, Gore. She turned back toward Jack and the beast. He broke free during a trial run. I was just a child. He didn't hurt me. He hid beside me, even when alarms went off. I think he was scared. Jack looked at the massive creature resting on the floor. Hard to believe something this big could be scared. Zura smiled softly. Fear isn't about size. Even weapons can want peace. Jack leaned back, deep in thought. So that's why they want him. He's the last of something. They want destroyed. Zura nodded. And I'm the last person he chose. Jack stood. They don't just want him. They want to erase the idea that he could care. Just then, Gore lifted his head and looked straight at Jack, his glowing red eyes dimmed, and for a second, they changed. No longer cold, not a killer's gaze, but almost human. Jack stared back. What are you? He whispered. And deep in his heart, he felt something impossible. Gore understood that question. Suddenly, boom. The wall behind them exploded. Concrete shattered. Dust filled the air. Drones flew in. Soldiers behind them. Zura grabbed her blade. They're not giving up. Jack pulled her behind cover. I'll hold them. You get Gore out. No, Zura said firmly. We fight together. Gore rose with a snarl. But this time he didn't charge blindly. He stepped in front of them, shielding them. Jack saw it again. That look, that choice. Gore was choosing to protect, not because of orders. Not because of programming. But because of bond. He wasn't just a weapon. He was becoming more. Jack whispered under his breath, you're not a monster anymore. You're family. As the attackers rushed in, the beast roared, shaking the broken station like thunder. And for the first time, the world would see the true power of a creature that chose to protect instead of destroy. Asterisk, the stars were too quiet. Zura sat alone on the rooftop of a broken shuttle station. The battle was over for now. The attackers had run, or bled. Below her, Jack and Gore rested near a small fire. But she didn't sleep. She never really did. The night wind moved gently through her hair, cold, empty, just like her memories. Zura stared at the stars, then whispered, why do they shine so calmly, while everything below them burns? She didn't expect an answer, but Jack's voice came from the stairs behind her. Maybe because stars don't look down. She turned. He stood there, holding 2 hot drinks. He offered her one. She took it slowly. You always try to make things better? Jack sat beside her. Only for people who deserve better. Zura smiled for a second. Then it faded. Silence grew between them. Then Jack asked what he'd been holding back for days. How long have you been alone? Zura didn't answer at first. Her eyes stayed on the stars. Then she spoke. Since I was 6, Jack waited. My father trained warhounds. My mother was a battle tactician. I was born for violence. They told me I'd command armies. I was proud of that. Her voice lowered. Then the lab project began. The beasts were brought in. We were told to bond through pain. She looked down at her hands. The others hurt them without blinking. I couldn't. I looked into his eyes and saw fear. Jack listened quietly. I was the only one who showed kindness. That made me weak. That made me dangerous, she swallowed. So they locked me in a room, alone, for days. Then they told me Gore had been killed. Jack's eyes widened. But he wasn't, she said. He escaped. He tore through steel, guards, and walls just to find me. She gave a small, broken laugh. He was just a baby beast then, half his size. But he found me. Bleeding, starving. Jack felt something twist in his chest, and he didn't growl, he didn't bite. He lay beside me, warm, like family. Tears filled her eyes. She quickly wiped them, ashamed. I don't cry, she whispered. Crying is weakness. Jack placed a hand over hers. No, crying means you're still human, even if you're not. Zura looked at him. Her lips trembled. You really think we can live a normal life? Me, him, you? Jack nodded. Not normal, but maybe peaceful. Suddenly, Gore let out a low whimper from below. He was dreaming, twisting, growling, legs kicking. Zura stood up fast and jumped down to him. She knelt, placing a hand on his head. He dreams of the cages, she whispered. Even now, Jack knelt beside her. He's not the only one with nightmares. Zura looked at him. She was the girl the galaxy feared. The one whispered about, hunted, hated. But right now, she was just a child who had never been held. Never been told she mattered. Never felt safe. Jack said softly, you don't have to protect everyone alone anymore. Zura closed her eyes. One tear slid down her cheek. And for the first time in years, she didn't push it away. Outside, storm clouds formed. Another hunt was coming. They would have to move again, but in that moment, for just a heartbeat. Zura wasn't a weapon, she was simply a girl. They were smiling. That was the first warning. Jack, Zura, and Gore had reached the edge of a small alien village built on stone cliffs. The people were clean, calm, and friendly. Too friendly. A child handed Zura a flower. An old man gave Jack fresh water. One alien woman even patted Gore on the head. No one screamed, no one ran. No one called them monsters. Jack raised an eyebrow. This is weird. Zura nodded. No one's ever welcomed us. The village leader, a short, four-eyed woman with golden robes, greeted them with open arms. You've had a long journey, she said kindly. Stay, rest, eat. Zura hesitated, but Gore didn't growl. He sniffed the air, then sat down, calm. So they stayed. A feast was prepared. Warm bread, sweet fruits, and glowing soup. Children laughed, music played. It felt unreal. Zura sat by the fire, silent. Jack leaned close. You okay? She nodded. I just don't remember what peace feels like. Jack smiled gently. Maybe this is the start of something new. But Gore didn't touch the food. His eyes stayed on the shadows. His ears twitched. Something was wrong. Zura finally stood and whispered, we should go. Too late. Clank. Slam. ZZZKRRRR. Metal barriers rose around the village. Giant towers activated. Drones flew overhead. The smiling villagers dropped their masks, literally. The skin on their faces peeled back, revealing cold, artificial eyes. Jack grabbed Zura's arm. It's a trap. From the shadows, armored soldiers appeared with stun rifles. Nets and glowing chains. The leader's voice turned cold. Robotic, you were easy to lure, beast bearer. We knew your pet would not sense danger in programmed smiles. Zura's fists clenched. Cowards. The leader raised a weapon. The creature will be reclaimed. The human will be recycled. And you, girl, will be studied. Jack stepped in front of her. You're not taking her. Suddenly zap. A net hit Gore in the side. He roared in pain, electricity crawling over his skin. Zura screamed. Gore! Soldiers moved in. Jack fought back with his bare hands, swinging, dodging, kicking. He knocked 2 down, but there were too many. Gore tried to charge, but his legs shook. He collapsed, groaning. Zura dropped beside him. Fight it, please, the leader smirked. He can't, that net was designed just for him. Another soldier aimed at Jack until Gore, even weakened, lunged and knocked the weapon aside with a final surge. Zura looked up, eyes burning. You want to see what I've become? Fine, she whispered a command in the ancient beast tongue. Gore's body lit up. The red lines under his fur glowed like lava. His eyes turned blinding white. The net snapped apart. The chains melted. He stood, and the soldiers finally understood. They didn't trap a beast. They trapped themselves. Gore let out a roar that shattered windows. Jack pulled Zura behind him. As Gore charged, smoke, screams, chaos. Within minutes, the village was rubble. The false villagers gone. The trap destroyed, but Gore was wounded, bleeding again. Zura held him, shaking. Jack crouched beside her, breathing hard. They're getting smarter. Zura's voice trembled. They knew he wouldn't attack unless. They hurt me first, Jack nodded. They used your kindness against you. She looked at him, eyes fierce. Then maybe it's time I stop being kind. He stared at her. And in that moment, he saw someone who had nothing left to lose. Zura was gone. Jack sat in the empty cave, staring at the ashes of their last fire. The wind howled outside like a ghost that had forgotten how to rest. Gore lay curled near the entrance, silent. His body still bore burns and cuts from the last battle. But that wasn't what made him weak. He missed her. She had left 2 nights ago, alone. Left no note, no goodbye, only her blade. And a soft whisper Jack still remembered. If I don't come back, take care of him. Jack had sworn to protect her. But he never imagined she would choose to walk into death. She had gone to the capital. The center of the system. The place where the order lived. The people who made Gore, the ones who hunted them. She had gone to end it. Alone. The capital skies turned red the moment she arrived. Ships scrambled. Alarms screamed. Every weapon aimed at her small stolen craft. But she didn't fight back. She didn't even land. She broadcasted. You call him a monster, a thing, a failed project. But he's more human than any of you. Across dozens of systems, screens lit up with her face. He was made to destroy. But he chose to protect. A voice answered her, cold and sharp. We will erase you both. Zura smiled. You've tried. Then she hit the switch. The moment her ship exploded in the sky, everything changed. Jack felt it like a blade in his chest. Gore screamed, a sound not meant for any living thing. It was grief, rage, and pain all at once. The mountains echoed. For miles. Then he stood. And for the first time, he flew. His mechanical veins lit up. Wings, yes, wings unfolded from his back, metal and flesh, fire and bone. The final secret of his design. He rose into the sky like a storm. Jack didn't try to stop him. He only whispered, bring her back. What followed would become legend. Beast, once feared by every world, flew into the capital airspace and did not destroy. He did not burn cities or crush towers. Instead, he landed. He walked into the center of the capital, past tanks and bots and terrified soldiers, carrying her body in his arms, burned, bruised, still, but not gone. He laid her gently on the ground. Then he bowed. Before the galaxy, the world froze. And something ancient stirred in the hearts of those watching. Not fear, not war, but shame for what they had done, for what they had created, for what they had hunted, and for what they had tried to kill, but never understood. Zura woke 3 days later. She opened her eyes in a white room. Sunlight touched her skin. Jack sat beside her, holding her hand. She blinked. "Where is he?" Jack smiled. "Outside. The whole galaxy's watching him. But they're not aiming guns anymore. Just cameras." Zura weakly laughed. "He hates cameras." "Yeah," Jack chuckled, "but he stayed. For you." Months later, peace talks began. The order collapsed. New leaders rose. People started whispering a new name for Gore, not Death Beast. Guardian. Zura and Jack disappeared into the outer colonies, choosing quiet, peace, but stories of them still spread. The girl who tamed the monster got the man who stood by her side, and the beast who showed the galaxy what it truly meant to love something more than war.